It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Your emails as well at randykabc@gmail.com, and search for the KABC News Blitz wherever you get your podcasts and hit follow, hit subscribe. Today is the day of a new era at LAUSD, as today was the final day to comply with the new edict from the LAUSD board that all LAUSD schools must ban cell phones at all hours of the day, not just during class time, but also during recess, also during lunch. No cell phones, nowhere. No TikToking, no Snapchatting, no Instagramming, no Facebook. Who are we kidding? Teenagers don't use Facebook. Facebook is the social media app for your parents and your parents' parents. So let's see how it is going as LAUSD tries to enforce what seems to be a very difficult thing to enforce. Because, fun fact, many LAUSD schools have already had a cell phone ban, but it has been tough to enforce because it's pretty much up to the teachers to be the phone police. Let's see how it's going. Here's KTLA.
As LAUSD students prepare to head to school this morning, they will be facing a new policy on campus. The district is imposing a ban on the use of cell phones during school hours. KTLA's Carl.
Don't even bring it with you, except, of course, you have to bring it with you. Even if the cell phone's not on, you need to have it in your pocket, or you will feel like you have phantom limb syndrome, like you were in Nam.
KTLA's Carlos Herrera live in Koreatown with more on that. Carlos, good morning.
Hi, Frank. Good morning. Officially a new era for the LAUSD. Starting this morning, students who bring their cell phones to campus will not only have to turn them off, but also store them during all school hours. And yes, that includes lunch, or they will face...
You can't even take pictures with your friends or take a picture of your rib sandwich that is the imprint of a rib. Boy, you know, I went to a pretty good school district, the William S. Hart School District in Santa Clarita. Before that, the Newhall School District with the elementary schools. But it doesn't matter if your school is good in education. It doesn't matter if your school has a good athletics program, which both districts had great ones. Many kids who went to my high school went on to have pro baseball and pro football careers. It's wild. Also, one jackass that ended up in radio. But it didn't matter. The cafeteria fixins were not great. The little tostada bowl with the tostada shell that could not be eaten. Of course, that square of pizza where you could run a paper towel over it and it would be covered in that red grease. And you're a kid, and I was an overweight kid. You love grease, but not that much grease. Of course, my high school, we went classed up just a little bit. There was a mini Taco Bell where you could get a bean and cheese burrito for $1.25. And believe you me, I got a bean and cheese burrito every single day in addition to whatever else I was having for lunch.
Or they will face several consequences. Now, we know the district has been working on this for quite some time now, and we know that it's not going to be an easy task for the district, especially because teens can be really attached to their phones, but the district really...
It's not just teens. Let me tell you a true story that happened to me less than an hour ago. So I have 2 hours in between the end of the John Phillips Show and the beginning of the News Blitz. So I try as quick as I can to get the 2 o'clock hour podcast posted and get out the door at 3:01 p.m. And traffic is hell right now. It's been worse, but I feel like it feels as worse as it's ever been. So usually if I leave at 3:01, I get to my home where I broadcast the News Blitz from at about 4:10. Today was 4:15. So now I'm really trying to do math. How am I going to spend my 45 minutes before the next broadcast? And usually I just kind of go into a blind rage and start attacking the fridge because I was just so mad being on the freeway. I got to do a lot of emotional eating to deal with that. So I have whatever we prepared for our make-ahead lunches, and then I go hit the nuts and I hit the chips, and I got to stop all of it. I need to just not buy any of that stuff. I have a problem. But today I was ready to be really good because I didn't get a chance to work out this morning because I had a dentist appointment. Everything's looking great. They're not pearly whites, but they're clean. I couldn't work out. So I was like, I want to get a workout in before the show. And sometimes if I'm really disciplined and really good and I finish my lunch by like 4:30, I could get a 20-minute Peloton class in. And so that was my plan. So I got home, I ate what I had for lunch, and I was getting ready to go. I had changed. I was just about to fill up my water bottle and go put on my Peloton shoes when my phone is in my pocket and I feel a vibrate, and it's a text message from John Phillips. And he's sending me a link to a Twitter article about this Ricardo Lara calling John Garamendi a racist for white mansplaining his job. You know, the typical things that John and I text back and forth with each other about. And instead of glancing at that text for 1 second and going to my desk to get my Peloton shoes, put them on, and go for that 20-minute ride, I now have stared at my phone, and my instinct is to sit on the couch and start flipping through Twitter, even though I just promised myself that I was going to work out. And I don't even think I realized I was doing it. I was just in a typical Twitter daze, flipping and flipping and flipping through nothing. I don't like any of the things I see on there. None of it's good. I don't want to see any of it. And I finally realized after 5 minutes and break myself from this hold, I got to go get on the bike. But thanks to my addiction to my cell phone, that 20-minute ride turned into a 15-minute ride. But at least I did it. There are some days where the addiction is stronger and I'm not even doing anything. It's not like I was doing show prep. You know, that's a useful function for the phone if I'm flipping through YouTube, flagging videos for this show or for the John Phillips show. That's important. I do it every day, sometimes twice a day. Sometimes while I'm eating lunch in the 4 o'clock hour, I'm desperately flipping through YouTube. What am I going to talk about at 5? But today, it was none of that. I already had everything prepared, already had the sound good to go, had plenty of time to exercise, but lost 5 minutes of my day to nothing. I couldn't tell you one thing I saw that really stuck out. It was mindless. And I'm not from the age where I grew up with this. Yeah, I got an iPhone in 2012. They came out in 2007. I don't think I had smartphones really before that. When I was in high school, little tiny cell phones were just starting to come out with the track phone, and remember Virgin Mobile, these pay by the minute things. Texting wasn't really a thing back then. Yeah. So I can't imagine you growing up in the era of cell phones where, you know, I have a 2.5-year-old niece, and she knows exactly what the phone is. She knows exactly what to do with it. And I think everybody has a kid or a relative that's very young that knows how to do a million things on this phone. They know how to get on the TikToks and find all the dances. It is very, very addicting. But can we actually enforce a ban in schools? Teenagers aren't the best at following the rules. I'll give you for instance. You know, my school had a policy of no Game Boys. Do not bring your Game Boy to school. Do not bring your Game Boy to lunch. No Pokemon trading in school. So we didn't bring our Game Boys. What did we do? We figured out how to hack our TI-83 Texas Instruments calculators to play video games. That is a true fact.
Teens can be really attached to their phones, but the district really to take on this challenge to make students part with their devices. Today is the deadline for all schools to adopt the cell phone ban policy. You may remember it was approved by the board last June in an effort to improve student engagement, limit the use of social media during school hours, and ultimately, they say, to reduce bullying.
Well, if the kids are still using the phones when they get home, there's still going to be some bullying. But maybe it would cut down on that. Look, I am very supportive of this because as helpful as these little devices in our pockets are, we know that they're bad for us. They're very, very, very bad for us. Everybody's attention span has gone down to about 15 seconds. How many times have you flipped through your phone since I started talking 10 minutes ago? Can you even count? I'm doing the show, and I have flipped through my phone about 3 or 4 times since I started this segment while I'm talking about how bad it is. It is a wild addiction, and we've all got to find out ways to break ourselves from it. So if we can nip that in the bud in the school developing years and teach kids how to be social again, I think it's a great thing.
Absolutely follows the medical.
Oh, he's one of those too.
Absolutely follows the medical research that currently exists that ties the use of social media through mobile devices to the mental health crisis exhibited by our kids.
Phones are definitely.
I don't think we needed that much research. We know that.
Phones are definitely a weapon at school. It's actually working on the opposite end. It's not keeping kids safe. It's putting them in very vulnerable positions. And the cyberbullying is really detrimental to their health.
And it's not just like posting videos and making fun of somebody or writing mean comments on somebody's Insta. I mean, the stuff that's going on at schools now is getting really, really insane. Like, there were girls at a Calabasas high school who some boys took pictures of their face and then used AI to make nudes. That's messed up incredibly. That is traumatizing for those girls. And these kids know how to use that technology really, 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 really well. And that technology is just at its birthing point.
LAUSD Superintendent Alberto Carvalho says
I mean, what do you even do about somebody that makes fake revenge porn?
LAUSD Superintendent Alberto Carvalho says the ban's implementation will vary from campus to campus, but says about 50% of schools are using the honor system.
Oh, really? The honor system, eh? Kids are great with that.
LAUSD Superintendent Alberto Carvalho says the ban's implementation will vary from campus to campus, but says about 50% of schools are using the honor system. They're allowing students to keep cell phones and smart devices with them or in their backpacks and trusting that they won't use them during school hours. Others are taking a different and more strict approach.
Yeah, because that approach doesn't seem like it will do anything.
Others are taking a different and more strict approach. They're either locking them up, placing them in classroom holders, or guarded pouches that magnetically seal the phone during the day. The phone, though, is in the possession of the student, but inside that pouch.
It's like when you go to a comedy club and they don't want you videotaping the show because you're there to laugh, not to film something that you will never watch later or, get a comedian in trouble. So you put your phone in those magnetic pouches and you cannot use them. Sometimes, some shows, you got to give them the phone and you just got it's like a code check for your phone. I thought that's what we were doing here, but apparently we don't want the kid to not have the phone, just not use the phone.
Students caught using those cell phones at school could lose their devices and face other disciplinary action, with the exception, of course, of students who need their phones for translation purposes.
Oh, you know how many kids are going to say, me no speak English?
Or learning possibility. Now, again, today is a deadline for all campuses to implement this ban. It had already been enforced at many LAUSD campuses several months ago. As we come back out here live, many, Frank and Jessica, seeing this ban as a relief for teachers who were often forced to police the use of cell phones. Others saying it adds even more enforcement issues.
But yeah, that's where I kind of have an issue with this, because LAUSD has had similar bans, although it wasn't all day long, but it was just during class time. But if you have half of the schools in this district, and that's 1,000 schools, and half of them are doing this on the honor system, doesn't that once again make the teachers who already have enough to do still the de facto phone police? I mean, I really don't know how you enforce this and tell 450,000 kids you can't look at your phone for 8 hours a day. I don't know if I could go 8 hours a day without looking at the phone. I can't even sleep 8 hours a day, and that's probably why. These things have rotted our brains from the inside out, but boy, are they entertaining. And I shouldn't really complain. It makes my job very easy. Because I get up at 6, I flip through those YouTubes, and I find all the sound just for you. But I want to hear what you think about this. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. 1-800-222-5222. How difficult do you think it will be for LAUSD to enforce their new cell phone ban? Who's going to tell the kids you can't use your phones? Do you think LAUSD is going to have a problem enforcing this cell phone ban in their district? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. And if you're a teacher out there, we got lots of teachers listening in any of the local school districts. I'd love to know what it's like trying to teach kids in an environment where these phones are taking over everyone's attention span. Give me a call. 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Your thoughts on LAUSD banning cell phones starting today. 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. We're taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. LAUSD officially started their district-wide cell phone ban today. No cell phones in the classroom, no cell phones on campus, no cell phones at lunch or recess. I mean, you could keep them in your backpack, but you got to keep them off. And they're going to be enforcing this in half of the schools in the district on the honor system. Do you think LAUSD is going to be able to enforce their cell phone ban? If you're a teacher, are you worried that you're still going to have to be the phone police? 800-222-KABC is the phone number. 1-800-222-5222. Let's start with Tim in LA. Tim, hello.
Hey, how you doing? How's it going today?
Doing great.
Awesome. Actually, I'm on my way home right now. I'm on my way to Gold's Gym to work out. I'm leaving my school now. I'm a special education teacher for LAUSD. I'm having a big problem with this ban because LAUSD is going straight across the board, one size fits all. My population, I'm at a CTC, we teach transitional skills. All my students are 18 to 22. They're entitled to stay in school till they're 22 years old. They are banning phones for my students, and we use phones for our academic instruction. It's an accommodation. I have students that can't read, so I teach them how to use an app on their phone to read. They're restricting that. They're forbidding us. I teach travel training for our kids to get out in the community and catch the buses. We use the apps to be able to be able to travel to and about, look up bus routes and stuff. They're not letting us do that. Every teacher in our school is getting like this lockbox. They want us to lock the phones up at the beginning of the day, no phones whatsoever. I'm having a difficult time with that because I'm trying to teach responsibility. When my kids went to school, that's when cell phones first started coming out. They were taught to keep their phones in their pockets, and if they took them out of their pockets, the teachers would take them. And then we would have to go up and pick the phones up. So, that was like my kids did not want me to go up and pick up the phone. They're not teaching these kids nowadays responsibilities. All they're doing is taking them away. And for some of the schools that I worked at, they are going to have a tough time because a lot of students think it's their right to have a phone. I wish them the best. But for me and for my population, I'm very upset because my students aren't allowed to use their phones, special education, moderate to severe, for an accommodation for which they need.
Yeah, that's insane that they won't let you when you're using those devices specifically to teach your students life skills. How is there not an exception for that? That's complete. That makes no sense.
It's insane. It's insane. The only exception I heard of is if you're coming over here in your ESL and you have a difficulty time with the language, then you're exempt.
Yeah, I heard that in the report too. So if you need the phone for translation,
room right now.
Yeah, well, maybe that's what you need to do. You need to tell the district, all of my students are non-English speakers, so they need it to translate, and then you can do whatever you need to do to teach your students the life skills they need.
It's so insane. It's like they don't care. I friggin' love my job. I love what I do, and it's such a disservice what they're doing to my population. It sickens me.
I feel for you, and thank you for what you're doing. You're doing incredible work out there. I mean, if they don't relent on this and give you a cutout for something so specific and so common sense, I think you got to get the union involved, because that's nuts.
You know, I guarantee the union's probably backing it. I don't know. I'm just assuming, but you would think the union would back it from the get-go. But yeah, we haven't heard anything from the union.
Yeah, that's crazy.
All we know is that we have to lock these phones up now. And I'm dealing with adults. I need to teach them responsibility, because they're going to be out in the community, contributing to the community. And we teach them the proper time when to be on the phone, just like we were taught. And it's something else. And you can see I'm a little angry about this, and I really have passion for what I do, and it's giving our students a disservice.
Well, Tim, keep making us think about this. We'll do what we can over here, because seems to be something that should be so common sense. And thank you so much for what you're doing. You're changing lives every day, buddy. Thanks for calling in.
And thank you so much. I love your show.
Thank you. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. 1-800-222-5222. LAUSD is effectively banning cell phones in all schools, apparently even special education schools where the students need those apps to actually function. That seems a little crazy. But do you think, across the board, LAUSD is going to be able to enforce this ban, or is it going to be like it was before and the teachers are the de facto phone police? If you're a teacher, I want to hear from you. If you're a parent, I want to hear from you. Whether you're in LAUSD or not, this is something that affects everybody, because we're all attached to our little phones. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. 1-800-222-5222. If you're on hold, stay on hold. We'll get to you next. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Your emails as well at randykabc@gmail.com. And you want a real easy way to get the podcast of this show? Go to kabc.com/newsblitz. It's all right there. We're taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC. LAUSD has enacted their cell phone ban today. How do you think it's going to go enforcing that? Let's start with Mickey in Encino. Mickey, hello.
Yeah, how you doing, Randy?
Doing great.
Hello? Yeah. Anyhow, I just want to tell you real quickly. I did work for LAUSD before. Not now. I teach elsewhere. But long story short, I just want to tell you, which you probably already know from your previous caller, I can't insult LAUSD enough. There aren't enough pejorative terms to rip them to shreds. On a good day, they function somewhere between the Keystone Cops and the Three Stooges, and on a bad day, you don't even want to go there. They're directive of the audience. They're just idiots for that. They're just ignorant. I mean, I know I'm being around the students that some of them, I'm sure, may be trustworthy, but too many of them are not. They look for any chance they can, to walk between the raindrops, so to speak, with their little cell phone thing. And no, it's unreasonable to, with the half-half thing. It's one of their typical half-baked, unthought-out schemes. That's because, they're just a collection of mental hemorrhoids. No, it can't work. And very quickly, I saw something on the TV news maybe a month or two ago where they were talking about having training for teachers, dealing with this. And I was thinking, what kind of training is there? Using guy talk, I got to watch my language on the air. If you're really serious, you just sort of strap them on, so to speak, guy talk. And, you just say, this is the edict. And there's nothing to train. If you see a student with this, you just say, all right, Mongo, give it up. That's it. You don't have any business having it. It's across the boards, and I've heard all the arguments. What if there's an emergency? Hey, you could tell, I came up 100 years ago. If they needed to get a hold of you, they could. And the cell phone thing, no, you're right. It's destroyed everything. That's kind of the short story. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And students often fib too. You ask them if they're done with their work. Oh yeah, and it turns out they haven't. And they're looking at something you can see has nothing to do with the assignments, like football highlights or drawing pictures or cartoon. No, No, it's just ridiculous. Just kind of curious. What do you think about all that I said, Randy?
I think that you bring up some really good points because we know how inept LAUSD is when they have a half-baked plan like this. It sounds really good on paper. It makes a flashy headline, but it's always how exactly is the carryout? How is the follow-through? Because what happens when they've had bans like this before, it's teachers like yourself that are ones that have to enforce it, and now that eats up all your class time.
Sure, it does. I mean, very quickly, I don't know if you know much about the classroom or if you've ever been in one, but if you realize how many kids, and I'm sure there's a lot of good ones, but how many kids, you know, have the morals and ethics of an alley cat, you know, when it comes to being honest about their cell phones, you know, why they're, you know, they say they're done with the work, the teacher lets them do whatever. You know, I've heard it all. It's just,
I mean, that's teenagers. Teenagers are living to break the rules. Even before cell phones, there were paper footballs and drawing Stussies and doing anything but what you were supposed to do in class.
Right. But as you mentioned, I mean, the cell phone is just one more tool for them to avoid doing anything they're supposed to do. And, it's just destroyed things. So I don't know what else I can say about it, but
thank you all so much for your points, Mickey. Thank you so much for calling in. We love hearing from you, and thank you for showing restraint and not saying all those things I know you wanted to say about LAUSD. Thanks for the call, buddy. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. Let's go to Oakland Man. Oakland Man, hello.
How you guys doing?
Doing great.
How you been?
Doing fantastic. Oh, I know who this is.
Wild, Wild West.
It's Wild, Wild West out here.
How's it going?
It's beautiful. The Wild, Wild West. Put that phone down. I'm going to tell you something. I'm teaching. I'm a ski instructor here in Olympic Valley. You know, used to be Squaw Valley. And even for me during the day, I'm not on the phone and no one's on the phone from 9 to 12 and from 1 to 4. You feel me?
Oh, yeah.
No one's on the phone. And the thing is, I think this generation, even you, me, whatever, we all have these phones. I have 3 phones. We're losing something. It's called connection with each other. Does that make sense?
Oh, I totally agree. Even doing the thing that you're doing right now, using your phone as a telephone to talk to me, that's like the least used function on the phone.
Right. You know, as a ski instructor, I have to have the phone because of, you know, an accident or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I have to call ski patrol. But the thing is, I feel bad for people that are, if you look at even in people in restaurants, and they're using their phone. That's why I love to go to South America. Wow, wow, West man, Oakland man goes to South America, and I can get away from this thing of constantly look at the phone, constantly. Does that make any sense?
Oh, it makes perfect sense. Other cultures don't have the same grab as we do. I mean, and I'm just as guilty of it as most people. I mean, what do I need to do when I sit down at a restaurant? Oh, I got to take a picture of my food so everyone can see it. Really, sometimes I think about it. Who cares? But I do it. I don't know why I do it.
You know, and the thing is, you know, I just, you know, I'm an old guy, but I'm still skiing. Wow. Oakland man is still skiing. And the thing is, when I talk to these kids, it's like, you know, it's hard to have conversations with a lot of them because they're so used to being on the phone. And
I totally agree.
When I'm teaching them, I have to really feel them out, get into their head. So, you know, my main thing is they don't get hurt, torn ACL, whatever. And it's like I have to feel them out because it makes me feel good inside. For a 3-hour lesson or a whole day lesson private, they can't use the phone.
I mean, it's so important. If they're not paying attention to what you're saying, they're going to break their legs. So you're doing the right thing doing that up there. Oakland man, thank you so much for calling in. Can I get one more Wild Wild West before you go?
It's the Wild Wild West out here. Y'all better take care of yourselves.
Call us anytime, buddy. Thanks so much for the call. I love that guy.
It's Wild Wild West out here.
Now if I can just get this guy to call us.
I said, hell no, baby boy. Let me get up on out of here.
It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang. More of your calls coming up next. It's Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. If you'd like to email us, you could do so at randykabc@gmail.com. Christy writes in about the LAUSD cell phone ban and says it's going to be about as effective as the ban on leaf blowers. That's right. Did you know in the city of LA, leaf blowers are technically illegal? Good luck enforcing that. If you're on hold, stay on hold. We're coming to you next. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. We're taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC. Your thoughts on LAUSD trying to ban cell phones in schools, even during lunch, even during recess. 800-222-KABC. Let's go to Bill in La Cañada. Bill, hello.
Randy, you probably know by now that I'm a former public school teacher and current tutor. And up front, I've got no iPhone, no computer, no internet, and that's fine with me. These lazy public school teachers have helped create this mess because they tolerated phones in class for so long, and they put 90% of the kids' work on Google Docs, and they assign videos for everything because they lack creativity, and they're not really teaching. And using computers for ESL is a big mistake. It doesn't work, and it's just laziness, and it actually hurts the students because they don't know the context of what they're looking at. But I think there may be a solution for LAUSD kids. How about threaten them with a visit from the human foghorn that leads the teachers union?
Well, why would you want to do that to them? That's torture.
Exactly.
I would love to know what she thinks about that special ed teacher that called in, that the LAUSD ban even affects him, where he's having the students that are mostly adults in his class not able to use their phones for like reading for the visually impaired. That's some nonsense right there.
Hell no!
Cecily better get all over that, or I don't know what she's actually for, because if her only job is to get them more money,
Get that money!
but not address actual employee issues, then I'm real confused.
I'm feeling tortured.
Hey!
Well, Bill, thank you so much for the call, my friend. As always, appreciate it. You know, what's funny is, we all had teachers that were really passionate, that inspired us, that were fun, that we wanted to be there every day. We also had teachers that we knew they were checked out, and we were okay with that too. And even before the age of cell phones and computers, you had the slideshows. You had the movies. You had... there was a lot of... I used to really feel that there was just so much wasted time when I was in high school. And I went to a good high school. But I sometimes feel like I could have absorbed everything we were about to learn in the first 5 minutes. So what I would do is I felt like I was too smart for everybody. I would figure out what the homework assignment was, do it in class so I don't have anything to do when I get home so I can get on the old Nintendo. And I skated out with straight B's, not paying attention to a darn thing. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. Anyway, the moral of that story is don't do what I did or you'll end up in radio. Let's go to Fabian in Fullerton. Fabian, hello.
Hey, Randy, it's Fabian again. I'm giving you a call in regards to this ban at LAUSD. I have two kids in Orange County, middle school and high school, and I'm fine with no phones. But also, too, as a bus driver for OCTA in Orange County, when I look to my left and look to my right at the cars that are next to me, everybody on the car is on their phone, and nobody's paying attention to the road. That's pretty dangerous to have a phone in your hand 24 hours a day.
And you probably see it more than anybody because you're up above everyone. Everyone's doing it. I bet when you're stopped at a crosswalk, the people crossing the streets are staring at their phone.
Oh, my gosh, that is so dangerous. If you're driving during the day, that's one thing. But let me tell you, as a bus driver driving at night, somebody crossing the street wearing dark clothes, you can't see them.
And we
So
see
that's
this
so
stuff
dangerous,
every day.
people staring at this phone like zombies.
It's
my
become
opinion.
such a grip on everyone.
they
Fabian,
should give it a-
thanks so much for the call, my friend. Appreciate it. It's the most insane thing, but we've given so much of our time and energy over to this little tiny 2-pound box. I use it way more than I should. We even get that alert now where it tells you your usage, and I'm always in shock. I'm like, what? I'm using my phone that often? It's like 4 or 5 hours a day. Now, a lot of that some of that I'm doing legitimate work, like prep for this show. But a lot of it I'm not. At least when I play my Nintendo, I might be wasting time, but I feel like I'm accomplishing something. It's like reading a good book. I'm doing nothing when I look at my phone and I flip through social media. My brain is just off. I'm not even enjoying it. But hey, you know what you can do that's really good with your phone? Listen to this radio show. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC.